Hey everyone, and well, I'm going to take a little break from anything movie or video game related and get back to a theme park review, or theme park attractions, plural, review. And that is of a place that I went to recently. Not Universal, not Disney, not Six Flags or any of those places. Nope, I'm talking about Busch Gardens in Tampa, Florida. Yes. Not to confuse with the one in Virginia, which there are two of them. Yes, one in Virginia, Williamsburg to be exact, which is European themed. And this one in Tampa, Florida is African themed and is all jungles and everything like that, animals. So it's almost similar to Disney's Animal Kingdom, you know, with all the zoos and exhibits and everything like that. You got tigers, you got giraffes, zebras, you got a train ride that goes around, which is pretty cool. So I'm gonna run through mostly coasters and other stuff that I went on. Keep in mind, once again, just like Disney, I didn't go on every single attraction, but I did most of the coasters, pretty much every single one of them. So I'm gonna give my thoughts and ratings on them. Start from, well, it's chronologically of the ones I went on, the best I can. And here we go. Starting with the first one, the tallest coaster in the park, SheiKra. Yes, this one was pretty damn good, and it's very high up. It's known as a steel dive coaster, which most of the attractions in Virginia's European version bear a lot of similarities. There they have Griffin, which I've never been to. Keep in mind, people, I'm just comparing them from what I've seen on YouTube videos. This one is called SheiKra. It's a steel dive coaster that brings you up 200 feet where you get a beautiful view of the city of Tampa. Straps you in over the shoulders, of course. And from what I've heard, it used to have a floor, but now it doesn't. Yes. SheiKra, in case you're wondering, is named after a specific bird that dives straight down, so it's pretty appropriate, I would say. Don't you think? And it goes you around, and then right over the first big, steep, 90-degree drop over 200 feet, it leans you over the edge exactly the way Griffin does in the Virginia's European-style theme park. But let's not get too carried away. I'm talking about that too much. Yep, gives you that couple of seconds before your pending doom, and straight down you go. And another one, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of an inversion after that big first drop, and even a big splash, which you don't get wet, but all the people standing around that section of the pool do get splashed. So there's a sign that warns you about that, but it is a really fun ride. I definitely recommend it if you are a real thrill seeker. I was a little nervous at first of going on this one because this is the first steel dive coaster I've been on, but it turned out to be a really awesome time. I went on it again mainly because there was no waits for it, obviously, and yes, you get a photo on this. There I am. At the second time, of course, going on this sucker. And all I could say is, it is definitely a really good time. Best coaster there? I would say almost. But very smooth, very fun, lots of air time. It is a really good time. If you want to fly like a SheiKra, then go for it. Rockin' Wii Remote, Wii Motion Plus up, and the Plane Wii Remote up. Trust me, it flies pretty damn high like one SheiKra. So, next coaster, Khumba. Yes, this one I would say is probably my favorite one in this entire park. In case you're wondering, the word Khumba derives from the African term of roar. And how appropriate, because, yeah, this coaster is very loud and it roars. What else do you have to expect out of that one? I mean, yes, of course you go over Congo River Rapids to get to it, and it's right in that section. If you take the train especially around, they give you the whole backstory about all these attractions. But not to get too carried away, this is a old school style B&M coaster, similar to the Hulk coaster, and the drop is actually bigger, and like that coaster too, it has really big enormous vertical loops, corkscrews, barrel rolls. It's pretty nice and lengthy and very smooth. Lots of air time, not much scenery as opposed to something that matches it, but it is really awesome. I definitely recommend it if you just love steel coasters and you're looking for a very smooth ride with lots of time to it. And the waits weren't that long when I went on it. It just kind of sucked when I tried to go on it the first time. It was broken down for a little bit and they had to do test runs. But not to worry, when any ride breaks down in this park, they usually get them up and running very quickly. They're on that so fast. So, yep, there's my photo once again. You get photos on pretty much every coaster in this entire park, and I got much to say. This coaster is absolutely my favorite in this entire park, and I think it's definitely deserving of a rockin' 2-year Wii Motion Pluses up. Trust me, it roars with awesomeness. So, alright, next ride is not a coaster, it's called a log flume, or in this park it's actually called the Stanley Falls Flume. Interesting name for a log flume, I would say, right? Yeah, I just call this one the log flume. It's decent, it's short, and the line thankfully wasn't that long. I expected it to be long like most other flume rides are usually at most of these parks, but it's your typical classic log flume. Sets up to about 4 or 5 people. Side bars, you know, when you're sitting down, but nothing goes over your lap like they added to Dudley 2 ride at Universal, but it's a pretty decent first drop, you know, which is smaller than the last drop, and yes, you get your photo on this. Not much to say. It's pretty decent. So, I give this one just a plain 2-ear moats up. If you're looking to get wet, you certainly will, but it's not too scary. It's decent. So, next ride is, well, a roller coaster. And this one is Cheetah Hunt. Alright, now this one is pretty damn cool. Now first of all, if you take the Sky Ride, which I did before going on this, and I'd say that was a pretty decent way to get a nice view of all the animals and everything like that. I'm not going to give it a rating because, you know, it's a sky gondola, but unless you're afraid of heights, that's the only reason I'd say not to go on it. But otherwise, yeah, it takes you from near where Stanley Falls Flume is, over by Cheetah Hunt. In fact, the exit station, or if you want to re-enter from that side, is in the same exact building as the entrance of Cheetah Hunt. And the only thing I have to complain about is the wait time. Yes, the wait times for this thing can get pretty damn long. And there's some pretty cool scenery and texture to this station as well. The only thing I had to complain about is supposedly there were supposed to be some cheetahs on display near the coaster, but I didn't see any. I don't know what was up with that. That would have added some really cool production value to the ride, don't you think? The ride is the only launch coaster in this entire park, and it's a steel coaster, obviously, and it has one inversion. And it's a pretty clever concept, being that it goes really fast, like a cheetah. Yeah, I love all these characteristics that they give to these rides in this entire theme park, because they're all mostly themed around animals and stuff like that from the jungle, and this one fits it pretty well. It straps you over the shoulder, of course, and yeah, it goes out of the station, and the next thing you know, it goes really fast, almost like the Hulk ride at Universal, but except this one's all about cheetahs, and it doesn't, you know, have big loops or anything like that. But it is really cool. I love that big hill that it has. You can see it's like winds around a couple of times. It's weird, but a really unique design that I've never seen out of a coaster. The next thing you know, I have one big drop, turns, and everything like that. It's just all over the place. Again, like a cheetah. It's really fun, but let me warn you people, you may want to get what they call a quick queue pass, which can be a bit pricey to get into this park. There's the regular quick queue and the unlimited one, but the unlimited one is way more pricier, especially during busy season, but it's definitely worth it for this ride if you're, once again, a thrill seeker and you love a good thrill. So, yeah, that's the only complaint I have with it, is the long queue that I had to wait on. I waited almost an hour for it, but otherwise, I really enjoyed it. Once again, yes, you get a photo, and like I say, after surviving this hunt, it's really good. So, not the best, but it's up there on my top must-do rides if you're a thrill seeker visiting Busch Gardens. Rockin' Wii won't be motion plus up and the plane wear mode up. Trust me, this hunt is well worth going on. Alright, well, the next one is Cobras Curse in the Egypt section. Yeah, they tried to almost design, and I almost felt like I was in line for Revenge of the Mummy, and this one was okay. The design to the queue line is really cool. I love how it's, you know, like you're in ancient Egypt, and you know, go into a tomb, and some of the rooms get all dark, and there's even a real couple of snakes in there to give it, once again, some production value and make it feel like you're inside an Egyptian tomb and everything like that. There's even a cool live show that comes up, and it's different every time, and you know, it kind of gives the ride a little bit of story to it and everything like that. But the ride itself is kind of a family-friendly coaster, which they did say, and I knew about it before I went on it, and that's what I kind of expected, and that's what I really got. It is cool by the fact that it lifts you up, not a chain lift hill, but it brings you up on an elevator, and there's a big cobra statue thing in front of you, and it does spin a little bit, so depending on what side of the car you're facing, maybe going backwards at some point, going backwards another point. So it's a short ride. There's no inversions on this, but I got what I expected. But most importantly, it was not worth waiting an hour for, which I ended up waiting for it. But if you got kids and they're looking for a family-friendly ride with a couple of small drops, twists, and turns, I'd say go for it. But again, I would get quick queue. It's just an excuse to buy one of those. Not worth a long wait. But a cool queue line, which I have to say is probably better than the ride itself. But otherwise, not the best ride. It was okay in my... Just a plain two-wheel mode's up. I think most people can agree with me on that. So yeah, there's another coaster in this section that once again I tried to get on before getting on Cobras Curse, and that was a Mod 2. This one is pretty damn good, but once again, just like Khumba, it broke down, so I had to wait till it got back up and running again, which it did pretty quickly. Not the first inverted coaster I've been on. I've been on Dragon Challenge and the Great Barrier Hershey Park, but this one has a lot of inversions. It's very lengthy and you get a lot of air time. Beautiful view. You see it when you first enter the park. I mean, that's how big it is. And I had a lot of fun on this one. It was pretty smooth, very fun, not much to say. It's probably the best inverted coaster I've been on. So if you're really into thrills, definitely go for this one. Rockin' Wii Remote, Wii Motion Plus up, and Flume Wii Remote up. This is actually one of my favorites. Right up there with SheiKra and Khumba, almost. So, next coaster, the oldest coaster in the park to be exact, the Scorpion. No, not that Scorpion. Yeah, no, I'm talking about this coaster. And yes, this, keep in mind, is a steel coaster. It's old-fashioned. You have to expect it to be rough, which they do tell you when you're waiting online. And the queue line for this once again got pretty damn long. I waited about almost 40 minutes for this thing. It's pretty short. And they tell you, yes, you're going to experience some roughness. Because, like I said, it's the oldest coaster in the park. So, not much to expect. Only thing is, it has one vertical loop, and it's only a lap bar restraint. No over-the-shoulder restraint. It's not the first one I've been on without an over-the-shoulder restraint that has a vertical loop. There's other ones I've been on before, and not to get too carried away, it's okay. It's rough, but, like I said, I expected it. It's a good starter ride, that's about it. Shortest, quickest review you'll hear on about it. But because it's the oldest roller coaster in Busch Gardens Tampa, I got it some respect where it's due, and I'll cut it the benefit of the doubt. So, if you're interested to see what the oldest coaster in Busch Gardens is like, in this place, to be exact, then go for it. Otherwise, if you're looking for a much smoother ride, you're not going to get it out of this. So, just a plain two-wheel remote's up. The Scorpion may sting a little bit, but didn't sting me a lot. And last but not least, another coaster that's right nearby, the Sand Serpents. Formerly known as the Cheetah Chase. Yes, this is just another one of those Wild Mouse coasters. I have nothing against them, it's just like, I don't know. I've been on so many of them. They're rough, they're more family friendly. You know, lots of twists and turns and everything like that. Lots of jerking around. Not much to say about it. It was okay. That's again the shortest, quickest review I'll give it. Plain two-wheel remotes up. You got kids, it's probably good for them. As well as the kiddie coaster. So, that about wraps it up right there. Like I said, I'm not going to talk about really anything else other than the coasters. The train's really cool, I definitely recommend it. You got multiple stops on it. It's great for family-friendly type of atmosphere with animals and safari. The narrator, who happens to be, of course, the train engineer, is great. It's almost like the safari vehicle at Disney's Animal Kingdom ride. In fact, I do have one of these at this park. Only thing is, unlike the train and all the other attractions, you have to pay surcharge. Yes, there's also a water park across the street, which I didn't go to because also the surcharge fee that you have to pay for it. And it was kind of cloudy out, so it wasn't really that hot out, and I didn't feel like getting drenched. As well as Congo River Rapids, which I would have been glad to go on. But once again, after going on Stanley Falls Flume, I just wasn't up to it. So, that about wraps it up right there. I say this is a very beautiful looking park. The lines can get kind of lengthy, but like I said, quick queue is not a bad idea if you have about 100 extra bucks in your pocket for one person at least. It's not like the way Disney does it or Universal. That is if you stay at a hotel on the resort, which is probably not many you know, like that park. It's not like a humongous multi-park resort like that place, or at least I don't think it is. And, well, there are some rides that are defunct, like, of course, Squazzy, which I would have been glad to go on because I've been on plenty of classic wooden coasters, but from what I've heard, it's being remade into a steel hybrid coaster, which is set to open next year. I don't know if it's meant in the same exact name. This has been done to multiple rides over the years, like the Cyclone at Six Flags New England and so forth. And there's another coaster which just recently opened. It wasn't open when I was there, called Tigress, which almost looks and sounds like the Phobia Fear coaster at Lake Compounce. I didn't get a chance to go on that big drop tower one, which looked pretty crazy, called Falcon's Fury, but otherwise this is a really enjoyable place. There's lots of stuff to do, lots of animals to see, and plenty of kids stuff as well. They got the Sesame Street Palace and everything like that, so very family friendly as well as great for thrill seekers. That about wraps it up right there. Once again, I know I'm rambling on here and repeating myself constantly, but other than that, till next time, keep watching.